Hello, I'm Dr. Charan. I'm a consultant psychiatrist and I'm assistant professor from the Department of Psychiatry working at Shada Institute of Medical Sciences, Hyderabad. Today I'm here to talk about a very important topic called stress management in the times of pandemic. As we all know that it took a global pandemic to realize the importance of mental health. Few of the conditions that we are seeing in this pandemic are first is obviously anxiety, then depression. We're also seeing behavioral disorders that includes irritability, unprovoked, excessive use of any substances like alcohol, nicotine. People are using this to feel better about themselves. Along with this, we're also seeing childhood psychological problems because of social distancing and home quarantine. It has taken toll on every age group across all the subsets of the population. Now, we all have heard of this thing called stress. Stress is a risk factor. It's not a disease. It's a risk factor for most of the diseases, be it physical or psychological or neuropsychiatric. I'm going to help you with how to deal with stress in the times of pandemic. The first important tip here would be maintenance of your sleep-wake cycle. Sleep is the most important parameter when it comes to brain health. Just like any electronic device, our brain also needs rest. You can't run it entire day and expect it to work at the most optimum capacity. That's the reason sleep is important. I'll tell you some of the do's and don'ts to maintain good sleep. Most of us are working from home, so it's very easy for all of us to log into our work at any time we want and log out anytime we want. We can nap throughout the day, and in the night we can sleep late. Maybe we are watching Netflix. We're doing different things. But we need to understand that your brain is used to be sleeping when the light is down and it should be up when the light is up. This is called sleep-wake cycle. We have a biological clock in our brain just like how we have a clock on our wall. It needs to sync with our regular timing. So for that reason, avoid napping. Even if you're tired throughout the day, it's better you're sleep deprived throughout the day so you get a good night's rest. This is extremely important, especially homemakers, people working from home, children. Avoid napping throughout the day. But some days are very tiresome, so it's okay to nap. It's called power nap. It shouldn't last more than 15 minutes, somewhere in the early afternoon, not close to bedtime. After this, we should not use bed other than for sleep or sex. No lounging on the bed, because changing your body posture is important for us to get a good night's rest. Your brain has to know that this person is going to sleep, so he's changing his posture. What we all do is we all tend to lounge on the bed and watch our laptop for a long period of time. That is detrimental to our sleep. Along with this, eating meals at least 3 hours before your bedtime is important, because the food that you eat needs to get absorbed, digested, and the nutrition should reach brain, so your brain rests well in the night. If you're hungry, just because you slept 3 hours before you went to bed, you can have a light snack right before your bedtime. That is okay. Probably a glass of warm milk or chamomile tea. These will, or a bowl of curd. All this will help you to get good night's rest. Another most important thing is we all tend to worry about everything that happened throughout the day right before we go to bed. I do it, you do it, probably all of us do it. That's something that we need to avoid. You're supposed to calm your brain. You're supposed to reduce these anxious thoughts. So what you can do is, just before you go to bed, you can write down your thoughts on a paper and throw the paper away. It might sound very silly, but this really works. This makes us understand that the worries are gone. At least you're postponing it till the next day. Avoid caffeine before you go to bed. Usually you should avoid before 6 p.m. because caffeine is a stimulant. Caffeine is present in coffee or sodas like Thumbs Up, Coca-Cola, different brands. You're supposed to avoid that. Avoid smoking. Avoid smoking for good, but especially for sleep, you shouldn't be smoking after 6 p.m. But that doesn't mean you should smoke before 6 p.m. as well. This is about sleep. Now, second important thing is working from home. A lot of IT employees and other people who are working from home, it's difficult for them to maintain their attention and concentration. We're getting a lot of patients just saying that, doctor, I'm not able to focus on my work. Before I was very good, but now my school grades are dropping, my work performance is dropping. This is a very valid concern. One of the most important things for probably your attention to go down is vitamin D deficiency, which a lot of us are having. So because we all work indoors, there is no natural sunlight for it to get absorbed and produce vitamin D in the body. So I would suggest everyone to get some sun exposure in the morning, preferably around 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock somewhere. Best is for you to do probably go to balcony or your terrace where it's absolutely safe and do some Surya Namaskaras. So you're also getting exercise and vitamin D at the same time. So that's something that will help. That will improve your attention. Also, do not work in your loungewear. It's very important that how workload feel on our body, that stimulates certain areas of the brain that will help in logical thinking, abstract thinking, and focused attention. These tasks are important for you to do any cognitive tasks. So I would suggest, even though it might sound silly, but where workloads, go to a room, a designated workstation in your house. It could be a room, it could be part of a room, depends on the size of your house. Arrange it nicely with some plants and with some journals, etc. And you can go on with your to-do list and the work for the day. This will definitely help you to focus on work better. And most of our brains, they only focus for 25 minutes. We can't work for 8 hours. So there is a technique called Pomodoro Technique where you can work for 25 minutes and take a 5-minute break. This 5 minutes is not, you are not supposed to switch from computer to your phone. You're supposed to stretch, take a flight of stairs, go help somebody in your family with cooking, bond with your children or your parents or your spouse, and come back. This will give you a sense of relaxation. So your brain is again ready to take on the task for the next 25 minutes. This is called Pomodoro Technique. This will definitely work. And hydration is the most important thing to control anxiety. In India, we drink only when we eat. That is 3 times a day, probably 3 glasses a day. Most of us, we should be drinking around 4 to 5 liters per day. That is absolutely important. Unless you have a renal problem and doctor asks you not to, you should be drinking lots of water. Extremely important. And do not skip meals. Do not overeat. Try to balance your meals throughout the day. And home cooked and the nutritious meals are the best for your brain. No junk. No prize for guessing. This is important. Along with this, when you come to anxiety, there are a few techniques that will help. Whenever we are having excessive worry, it's better to write down. There is a concept called Locus of Control. Take a paper, draw a circle, and write down everything that you can control in that circle, everything that you cannot outside the circle, and you'll have a little clarity about the things in my locus of control are something that I can worry, probably get solutions out of, and the things out of my control are something that are best ignored. This will give you a sense of perspective about how pandemic is affecting your mental health. Along with this, deep breathing is extremely important. We all know, everybody keeps talking about deep breathing. There is a muscle called diaphragm between your chest and abdomen. When you take deep, slow breath, it stretches your diaphragm. That sends signals to your brain through a nerve called vagus, telling to reduce the secretion of these anxiety hormones. So that will give you a sense of relief, which is essential in the times of panic and anxiety. So this will definitely help. And some of us, we have a lot of headaches, body pains, neck pain, etc. They occur secondary to anxiety. We have a lot of patients coming to orthopedicians and then come to us because these pains are not resolved with painkillers. Here, there is a technique called Jacobson's muscle relaxation technique. It's very easy. You can choose a muscle that you think is constantly in pain or getting tensed. Tighten the muscle for a count of 4 or 5 and relax it for the count of 4 or 5. You can do this from the head to toe or from toe to head. This will definitely help for people with increased muscular tension, neuromuscular pains and other. Avoid watching news. It's better to have a designated news time. My news time is around 4 p.m. in the evening for half an hour. Not when I wake up, not when I'm going to bed. This is important because you don't want your anxiety system to get alarmed and oversensitized. So avoid watching news, especially if you're getting overwhelmed with the situation that is happening around. I hope all of these tips help you and all of you are taking care and staying safe. Thank you.